Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be in your midst this afternoon. It has been very wonderful seeing the faces of the captains of the industries, pharmaceutical industry. Please, may I plead to stand on the existing protocol. I was just given 15 minutes, and I'll just go straight to the point. I'm also happy to hear that pharmacovigilance is the youngest child in the news. And I'm also happy the way the industry is taking the topic of pharmacovigilance. Okay. I'm also happy the way the captains of the industry are taking the story of pharmacovigilance. We all know the importance of safety. It's critical. All along, we've been dealing with quality, efficacy, doing our businesses, and counting our nairas. But time has come when we'll look into the aspect of safety. Just like my director, former director, Dr. Monica, Madam, good afternoon. Pharmacovigilance is very key. For the purpose of this presentation, I want to use this opportunity to thank all of the captains of the industry for even taking a giant stride to nominate their staff for the current pharmacovigilance trainings that have been going on since last year. We know that with the current WHO global benchmarking, NAFDAC is on maturity level 3, and pharmacovigilance is one of the indicators that is being assessed during this global benchmarking. We have achieved maturity level 3, and we're going to maturity level 4. And we all know the implications of getting a maturity level 4 for pharmacovigilance and for all the other regulatory aspects that are being assessed. Pharmacovigilance, as we all know, is just a science and activities related to detecting, assessing, understanding, and preventing adverse effects and other drug-related problems. The objective of this presentation is to provide clarity on the NAFDAC QPPV requirements and gain industry buy-in. Just like we say, pharmacovigilance is about safety monitoring. And if you do not put systems in place to ensure the safety of your products, then there is a problem. Because we all know that patients, as much as possible, we need these medications to take care of our disease conditions. We do not want an additional safety concerns. So we are calling upon the pharmaceutical industry to build systems, put systems in place for pharmacovigilance. What's the importance? Having your pharmacovigilance systems strengthened will ensure that medicines remain safe and effective throughout their life cycle, and also to contribute to regulatory decision-making and patient protection. We all understand and know that for us to be able to renew our products in NAFDAC now, you need to provide evidence with the submissions of your PSU, our periodic safety update reports, which tells us how you have been monitoring your product and we're able to evaluate the risk-benefits ratio. The whole purpose of any product to continue to be in the market is that the benefits will always outweigh the risk. So submission of your periodic safety update report, which is a document that helps us evaluate the benefit-risk ratio of what your product is causing within our population, helps us to be able to renew your products. So, pharmacovigilance will also help us to identify rare, delayed, or long-term adverse drug reactions that may not have been detected during clinical trials. We know the shortcomings with clinical trials, and we know that a lot of clinical trials of the products that we're selling in country were not done within our own population. And during clinical trials, there are some patient groups that are excluded. The elderly, the young, the pregnant women, and even those with other comorbid conditions. But in real life situations, when these products get into the market, whether you are pregnant and you have the disease condition, you may likely take it. If you are an elderly, you will also take the product. If you have other comorbid conditions, you will also take this product. So pharmacovigilance helps us to identify safety concerns related to our own population and be able to take immediate actions to remedy the effects. When there are serious safety concerns related to your product, obviously when the risk outweighs the benefit. Please, can we have one room? Hello? Please, can we have one orderliness? Because, you know, pharmacovigilance is important, and engaging the industry for adequate buying is also very, very, very critical. I know that there are serious economic issues that the industry is facing, but if we comply with regulatory requirements, it makes it easier for our products to be registered quite on time. Pharmacovigilance is the new baby in the news, and we also implore all of us to key into the new baby in the news so that we can work together and make Nigeria great. So, based on the NAFDAC mandate, looking at the regulatory framework, we already know what NAFDAC has been mandated to do. In all of it, we are to ensure safety, quality, and efficacy. And that is why the Pharmacovigilance Directorate and the National Pharmacovigilance Center is resident in NAFDAC. So that once we are able to get the adequate information, because science is evidence, once we're able to get the adequate information, this information will help NAFDAC take informed regulatory decisions just to continue to make medicine safer for our people. Other regulatory requirements, we also have the National Pharmacovigilance Policy, which was developed in 2012 and reviewed in 2020. And this policy, the goal is to provide a strategic framework for entrenchment of PV in the healthcare system in Nigeria and to ensure overall safety in the use of medicine. One very, very good news coming out from the GBT assessment is that there was a need to create a regulation for pharmacovigilance which is enforceable. And now we have a pharmacovigilance regulation, a regulation on pharmacovigilance which itemizes all the roles and responsibilities, what everybody in the pharma industry needs to do as regards to pharmacovigilance. Under Section 3, 1, 2, and 3, and their subsections, it itemizes the roles and responsibilities of the MAH and also what the QPPV requirements are. And the subsection 1C clearly states that the MAH shall have permanent and continuously at its disposal a qualified person for pharmacovigilance who shall be responsible for its PV system and also shall reside in Nigeria. And I'm happy some pharma companies have started nominating who their qualified persons is and also submitting it to NAFDAC. This is very, very, very critical because we want somebody who will be our point of contact in the pharma industries, in the pharmaceutical companies, who will be relating with us in issues related to pharmacovigilance. So, the MAH has some responsibilities towards this. And what are the responsibilities for an MAH? For an MAH, you have the responsibility to nominate your focal persons qualified for pharmacovigilance and communicate that information to NAFDAC. You are also to submit the name of that contact person in an officially written format to NAFDAC. What will be the duties of this QPPV, the job description, the relationship of the QPPV, the hierarchical relationship to the organizational charts must come out very, very clearly. Because currently we also know that NAFDAC has started pharmacovigilance inspection of facilities. From last year, we have done about 6 companies so far. And from the trainings that we have conducted, we are giving time for companies to now put together their regulatory documents on pharmacovigilance, so that when we come, we will be able to assess that. 5 more minutes, okay. So, what did we want? Simply what we want from the industry is to nominate a qualified person responsible for pharmacovigilance and a deputy QPPV. From some of the companies that we have gone for inspection, we have seen that they may nominate somebody for their QPPV and maybe the regulatory affairs director or manager to be the deputy QPPV. The QPPV is not supposed to give directives to his or her senior. So it is always better to have an independent person apart from your regulatory affairs, somebody who is going to be responsible for pharmacovigilance, who should also be relating with management in issues on pharmacovigilance. The roles and responsibilities, such a person, when we're talking about their skills, their qualification, somebody who read medicine, pharmacy, epidemiology, biostatistics, or even any of these related sciences. But that person must be trained on pharmacovigilance to be able to fit into the roles and responsibilities as itemized. This QPPV must reside in Nigeria, both the backup QPPV. We want to generate homegrown information, data on pharmacovigilance, and that is why we have said that structures must be put in place. We have our distributors that we already know the distribution channel. This QPPV will be responsible for interfacing with the distributors and even your medical reps. They have to be trained. Everybody that is supposed to be interfaced or have any contribution to do in pharmacovigilance must be able to contribute and be well trained so that they will be able to deliver the pharmacovigilance responsibilities. So the work of the QPPV is very enormous. Sometimes some people will want to merge the work of the regulatory affairs to be the qualified person and also the QA to be the qualified person. The work for pharmacovigilance is enormous. So we recommend that companies should identify an independent person who will be responsible for pharmacovigilance and be able to do the work. What are the key things that we want from the industry? We want an official letter written to us designating the pharmacovigilance focal points and the backup QPPV. Then, with the CV, the job description, the contract, there must be a contractual note, letter of appointment, stipulating the roles and responsibility of the QPPV. All these are itemized in our pharmacovigilance guideline and the pharmacovigilance regulation. All these documents are on our website. We have the pharmacovigilance guideline, but we have purposefully extracted the pharmacovigilance guideline for the qualified person so that once you get there, you are able to identify all the roles and responsibilities related to pharmacovigilance so that it can be adequately be dealt with. Then, in terms of reporting, our guideline also stipulates some timelines for reporting on pharmacovigilance. Compliance with these timelines is very, very, very critical. We implore that those that you have designated as your pharmacovigilance focal points should be able to look at what the guidelines, the regulations are saying, and the timelines for reporting for compliance. Once we come to your company, we want to be able to look at your documentation, the structures that you have put in place, the training schedules, SOPs that have been developed in relation to pharmacovigilance. We've been able to train the people you have sent to us for the pharmacovigilance training, and they are well equipped to do that. But one critical thing that came out of that training is our CEOs need to be informed. There is need for their buy-in into the pharmacovigilance system building. There is need for management commitment because pharmacovigilance takes resources. It takes human and capital resources to be able to implement pharmacovigilance. So the whole essence of this training or this small talk from me in NAFDAC is for you to continuously buy in. I want to thank you for already presenting your people for the training. There's still a lot that needs to be done. We have started the journey and we are hoping that this journey of pharmacovigilance will help us ensure safety of our products. We remember that without the submission of our PSURs, we cannot go further with our registration and renewals. The pharmacovigilance system master file has to be developed. Your PSURs have to be developed. Your risk management plans in terms of products that have identified risks that need additional risk minimization measures have to be drafted. And the QPPV is very, very principal, is very critical to this rule. If we call for PV inspection in your facility and there is no designated QPPV, there is no inspection. And that is a non-conformance. We do not want to continue to issue non-conformances, but rather we want to have an open door, have a hand-holding arrangement with the industry and the appointed QPPVs so that we continue to build the safety aspect of our products. Thank you so much.